So, Dyfan Jones, composer, musical director, man of all sorts of tricks. So, what was your first kind of involvement or knowledge of Theatre West Glamorgan or Theatre Nanog?
Well, I'd heard of them, and I'd definitely been to see a show or two of theirs in Aberdare. They would come to the Canolfan yr Urdd in Aberdare and do amazing community shows that I definitely saw when I was a teenager. And I think Tim Baker wrote to me, or I wrote to Tim, I can't remember, in 1994.
Wow.
And I sent Tim some songs that I'd written for kids and went into Neath to the unit and had the only interview audition I've ever had in my life with Tim Baker. Um, and that was for a show that they did in the Eisteddfod in Neath in 94. And Tim sat me down and played me a song and said, Don, can you, I start in one key and I finish in another key. Can you sort that out for me? And so we did sort it out together, and I got this job for working on a musical there, and yeah, it was amazing. I met loads of the gang then. So Gwyn was in that, and Manon was in it, and I met obviously Tim and Caris, and yeah, it was just fantastic.
That partnership went on for quite a while because it took you to Theatre Clwyd as well, that from that
Yes, it
job.
did. Yeah, you're right. So I was in between my degree and my postgrad that summer when I did that job. Um, And yes, as soon as I had done finished my postgrad, I carried on working with Theatre Golleu Morgannwg as they were then, straight away. And yeah, then I met Yogi, and I met, and all these people were super kind to me, because I was a 21, 22-year-old, and they were all so lovely and helped me through those first, scary years when you start in your career. And yes, that went up to 98, I think it was, when Tim moved to Theatre Clwyd. And yes, I've done 60 shows in Theatre Clwyd or something since, and probably done, I don't know how many, 20, 30 shows with Nanog in the intervening years. Yeah, it was just amazing. And it was quite local to me as well. It was half hour from where I lived. I was living in Aberdare with my mum and dad, and it was brilliant. I should say that that musical in 1994 was 3.5 hours long, and
Wow.
I had no idea what was going on. Tim would come in. He'd written a song the night before. He told me there was 10 songs in it, and I thought, oh, brilliant, 10 songs, great. And it turns out 10 songs in Act One, and there were three acts, and he'd come in with a new song every day, and we'd sit down together. I'd say, "Oh, Tim, that sounds a little bit like Penny Lane from," and he said, "No, it's fine," and we'd work them out, and then I'd teach them, and it was wild, but it was brilliant. Yeah,
A
just had a
lifelong
wave of
friendship
fun.
with Nanog as well, then, really.
Say again.
A lifelong friendship
Yeah,
with Nanog, then, really, isn't it?
yeah, and Gaines was there then. I mean, she was doing everything at that point. She was stage managing, she was running the sound effects, and I knew Gaynor from school. She was about 3 or 4 years older than me in school. And maybe Gaynor had told Tim about me, I don't know, but yeah, so she was there from the start with me. Yeah, it was just brilliant.
Do you have any kind of a particular memory that stands out of your time with them?
I just think those what we used to call TIE shows in the early days. I did probably one or two of those every year for the first, I don't know, 5, 10 years of my career. And I just loved those shows. And I think sometimes they were happening in the unit, and we used to bus schools into the unit. I think that's my memory of it anyway. And just how creative those shows were. We were like on our toes, making stuff all the time, and that still happens
Yeah,
today. I just
today the
I
same
just
ethos.
love.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
amazing,
it
really, and
is.
so invaluable, isn't it?
Well, I think that format, that bringing schools to a place so that the kids get an opportunity to go somewhere and have that theatrical experience, I just think it's invaluable. And I think they've done it from the beginning. And yeah, incredible.
Yeah, and I think they've never lost that value, have they? It's
No. no.
maintain that
And I
high.
love that they've branched out and they doing bigger things as well. But
Mhm.
their core, I think it's just fantastic. And they place so much um importance on that work, because it's difficult to quantify, isn't it? What the benefits are,
Mhm.
but we know that they're there. And yeah, I mean, year after year, I just think they do incredible work. It's just amazing.
And like you said, the kind of profound effect it has on you, because like you, I remember them coming to my school, and I can still vividly remember that. And all
Yeah.
these kids that come year after, every year to see it will have that
And
in their
those
mind.
shows were brilliant, weren't they? I
Yeah.
mean, they were all like they had their team doing all kind. I can remember Tim in the Irid Centre in Aberdare. I think he had directed the show. They'd written it together. He was playing the keyboard in the back. Somebody was doing it was just fantastic. And I remember thinking, oh, they've all this, they've put it together themselves, and they had a lorry at the time. It was that they would drive around in, the five of them or whatever. Amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Have you got anything you'd like to say to them for their 40th birthday?
Well, Pemblwydd hapus in it to start. And I just think, I hope that they carry on from strength to strength, because they are a little jewel in this part of the country. And I just hope that everybody appreciates what they do. It's such an amazing company.